Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Kassandra, and today I'm going to take you through a power yoga class. So in this practice, we are really going to be challenging ourselves. This is an intermediate class, and we're going to be holding poses for a little bit longer than what you might be used to doing. So staying like a full 10 breaths in every single pose as a way to really stoke the fire within. This is really touching on the niyama of Tapas, which is all about austerity and really building heat within the body as a form of purification. So if you have something in your life right now that you're kind of working on or going through, this is meant to be a practice that can help support you in this, to help remind you of how strong you are, of how you are able to stay committed to the path, to build resiliency, and to really tap into your own inner strength. Of course, take breaks whenever you need it. That's all perfectly fine. But this is just a different way of moving our bodies and a different kind of experience on the mat. So rather than making it a really flowy practice where we're only in a pose for a breath or two, we're really going to kind of simmer in the poses to really feel how they work on us physically, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. So this is an intermediate level practice. I am not using any props. And before we get into those fiery poses, we're gonna start laying down on our backs. So start in Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet come together, knees apart. Just a nice thigh stretch here. And I'm gonna reach my arms up overhead just to get a first gentle stretch through the chest, through the shoulders. And really let yourself fully relax here. Finding that first connection with your breath, and use this as an opportunity. Hi, Maggie. Use this as an opportunity to really ask yourself what it is that you need extra support in. What would you like to dedicate this practice to? Is there an area of your life that needs a little boost of heat, of energy, of determination, of perseverance? Or even what is the excess that you want to burn away so that only what is important remains? And you can slide your arms back down. Just pull your knees in towards your belly. Give it a big squeeze here. Rocking a little bit side to side. And let's find our functional bridge. This is from foundation training. It's not actually a yoga pose, but it's something I learned in one of the teacher trainings I did. So really wonderful to activate the posterior chain, all the muscles along your back body. Rather than doing traditional bridge with your feet close to your glutes, you're gonna walk your feet out pretty much towards the edge of your mat so that when you bend your knees, they're only lifted above the mat about 6 inches or so, and you're flexing your feet so only the back of your heels are touching. You're gonna bend your elbows and push the back of your arms into the floor, squeeze and roll your shoulder blades underneath you a little bit so you have an opening through your chest. Hug through your inner thighs, push down into your heels and lift your seat off the ground. I'm only lifted about an inch or two, and at the same time, you're digging your heels into the ground and you're dragging them back towards your shoulders. At the same time, you're pushing your shoulder blades into the floor, pushing your elbows into the mat. Stay with it. You'll probably shake, it's normal. I know I am shaking already. 5 more breaths. And And release. Should feel good. Straighten your legs. Pull your right knee in towards your belly and cross it over. Right knee crosses over your body towards the left. Reach your right arm out to the side. Take a laying spinal twist here. Coming back through to center, go ahead and straighten your right leg. Take a nice little hamstring stretch here. Should feel really good after that functional bridge pose. I'm flexing my right foot. You can point your toes, whatever you prefer. And actually, let's all point our right toes and point your left foot as well. And you're gonna use your hands to crawl your upper body up that leg, and then go ahead and hover your left leg off the mat at the same time. So I have my shoulder blades lifted off the floor, and we're going to be holding here. You can choose to keep your arms where they are. You can make it harder by reaching your hands towards your left leg. You can make it even harder by reaching your arms up overhead. This is too much for me right away, so I'm going to keep my hands reaching forward. Slow, steady breaths. Keep trying to scissor and split your legs away from one another. And keep focusing on lifting your shoulders off the floor, pushing your lower back into the mat. Three more breaths. You can do this. Bend into both knees, pull them into your belly, and relax it down. Straighten your right leg. Let's find a laying spinal twist to the second side. Your left thigh crosses over your body towards the right, and your left arm can reach out. Keep your chest facing up, just rotating through your lower body. Come back through to center and go ahead and straighten your left leg up. Just take a nice little hamstring stretch first. Now that you know what's coming, try to enjoy this part of it. I will be giving you little breaks throughout this practice just to focus on flexibility and to just catch your breath a little. But before you know it, we'll be back to strength. So let's go ahead and point the left toes, point the right toes, crawl and lift yourself up at the same time. Lift that right foot so it's hovering a few inches off the mat, starting to engage and strengthen through your core. This is the easier version. Remember, you can add some heat, reaching your arms towards the back of your mat or up towards the top of your mat. I'm trying to pull my lower belly in. I'm trying to split and reach my legs further away from one another. And I'm also trying to lift my shoulder blades even higher off the floor. Three more breaths. My abs are really feeling it. I'm sure you're feeling it too. Both knees into your chest and release. Let's rock up and down the length of the spine, coming up, tabletop pose, just cat and cow from here. So bring your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. And with your breath rhythm, inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, tailbone up, and reverse. Exhale, push the floor away. And just keep moving through those two poses. Should feel really good in your abs when you drop the belly down. Just stretch that out. Exhale, release. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back to neutral, we're going to find downward dog and we're going to be holding it for a little while. So walk your palms further, a little bit further than your shoulders before tucking your toes under and lifting your hips up and back. So find a stance that you are able to hold in this downward facing dog. We're here for 10 to 20 breaths. Think of wrapping your shoulders in towards one another. Of course, if you need a break at any time, lower your knees back down. But really watch that internal dialogue. What do you tell yourself when things get hard? Can you still have compassion for yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Can you show yourself some kindness? And can you motivate yourself to keep going? Even if you do have to take a break, that's totally fine. But can you still keep going just to get curious? Building that heat, stoking that inner fire. Three more breaths, you got this. Keep your elbows straight, press your chest to your thighs. And let's come into our warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1 on the right side. Step your right foot forward between your palms. Plant that back heel down at a 45-degree angle before lifting up. My right knee is going to be bent generously as I sink my hips down. I'm going to reach my arms up, either keeping your hands shoulder width distance apart and your gaze and chest facing forward, or you can add a little back bend here. We're going to be holding this pose, so choose one that you can balance in, that feels appropriate for your body. So if you want to add the little back bend, push your hands together and see if you can gaze towards the thumbs. Still bending deeply through that front knee. Five more breaths, you got this. And circle your arms wide and down. We're coming into our forearm plank. So lower down to your forearms as you step that right foot back. Trying to keep your shoulders somewhere over your elbows, over your forearms. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Notice if you're sagging the hips down or lifting them up like dolphin. Try to find that middle point. And breathe. It's hard for me to talk in this pose. 10 breaths. You can do this. Into your Sphinx pose, drop your hips, give yourself a little break here. Little back bend, open through your chest. And let's just add a thigh stretch. So I'm gonna bend into my right knee, reaching back with my right hand to pull that heel into the glute. At the same time, I'm really pushing down into my right hip and also pushing down into my pubic bone. This helps to protect your lower back and push that left shoulder back. If it feels like compression or pinching or pain in your low back, you're going too far, and maybe leave out the thigh stretch. Let's switch sides. Same thing here. My left hip bone is pushing down. I'm trying to stay lifted through my chest. And let's release. Let's just press back. Balasana, child's pose. 2 breaths here, pressing your hips to your heels, stretching out long through your arms. Think of almost pushing your armpits down to the floor. And we'll repeat this on the second side. So we need to come back into our downward facing dog, which we are holding. So find that established foundation where you're pushing down through your fingertips and knuckles, reaching your chest back towards your thighs, curling your tailbone up towards the sky. And relaxing your head, relaxing your neck. You might be sweating a little, you might be shaking. Totally normal. Remember, you can always drop your knees to the mat and just take tabletop or puppy or child's pose. This is not about pushing ourselves past our limits. We're not trying to injure ourselves here. We're just really building that inner fire, working on tapas. Let's step the left foot through between the hands, Virabhadrasana 1 on the second side, back foot comes down before lifting up. So I'm trying as much as possible to have my front thigh parallel to the mat. Either my arms stay directly up, palms over your shoulders, or adding a little back bend here. Palms together, shifting your gaze up towards your thumbs or past your thumbs. Still bending deeply into that front left knee. Sink down even lower, 5 more breaths. Circle your palms down. Instead of coming into forearm plank again, just step back to plank pose. We'll find Vashisthasana to the right, side plank. So drop your heels over to the right. Reach your left arm up. Push into your fingertips and knuckles. Second side, left hand down, roll your heels over to the left. 10 breaths here. Keep lifting your hips up high. Plank pose, chaturanga, go through your flow. Upward dog, downward facing dog. And this is just a transition, so let's go into our ragdoll fold. Letting your upper body relax a little, walk your feet to the top of the mat. You can bend your knees as much as you'd like here, maybe hold on to your elbows. You can sway a little side to side. Try to catch your breath. Come back to a regular, steady heartbeat. We do this by regulating our breath. But of course, the work is not over quite yet. Although we don't have that much longer left. So you can do this. If you've made it this far, I am sure that you can do the rest. Bend into your knees and widen your feet so they are at the edges of the mat, and keep your toes pointing forward. You're gonna bend into your knees so that you have your thighs parallel to the ground, and your chest now, like your spine, is also parallel to the mat. And you can either reach your arms by your sides, back behind you, or up overhead for a bigger challenge. So this is different from chair pose, Utkatasana, where we have our hips low and our heart lifted. Here, I want your head, your chest, your belly, your hips to all be in one long line. And it really does not take long for the thighs to start feeling this. Try not to dig your toes into the floor. And push your feet into the ground, come all the way up. Whew, felt that one. Feet hip width distance apart. Let's find our tree pose from here, Vrikshasana. Balance on your right leg first, and you're gonna bring your left foot somewhere along the inside of your right leg. Think of pressing that left knee open, hugging the thigh in towards the foot. And you can either join your hands together at the front of your heart, or you can extend your arms out to the sky. This pose is less about strength, more about really clarifying your focus, working on your balance, your concentration. Five more breaths here. And bring your hands in. You're going to step your left foot to the back of your mat in Virabhadrasana 2, your warrior 2 legs. You might need to readjust yourself here. So my front heel is pretty much aligned to the middle of my back foot. I'm bending into my right knee, a little bit more thigh work here. Let's interlace our fingers behind the lower back. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Humble warrior. Diving down. Keep trying to squeeze that right knee open. If you need to come up sooner, do so. But we have 10 more breaths here. You got this. One more breath. And drop your hands to the floor. Lift your back knee off the mat and drop your back knee down. Let's add a quad stretch here. You might need to move your right foot over a little bit before grabbing a hold of that back left foot, drawing it in with your right hand. Try to keep your hips pressing forward and down. Just stretching it out here. And you can release the hold of that back foot. Go ahead and straighten your right leg. I'm going to do the variation of this where I let my hips come down onto the heels and fold from here. And lift up through your chest, lift your hips back up if they were on your heels. And we're just gonna step to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale to fold. Press to stand, reach your arms up overhead. And draw your palms together at your heart. Vrikshasana tree pose on the second side. This is our last standing sequence, and it's the last side. So I promise you're almost done. Bring your right foot somewhere along the inside of that leg, wherever is appropriate. Trying to press that right knee open, big external hip rotation. And choose the arm variation that you would like to work with on this side. Think of lengthening the crown of your head away from your tailbone. Tapas is the niyama of austerity, stoking the inner fire as a form of purification, as a way to clarify what is true, what is important and what is real to us, dropping the excess, letting go of the clutter. Hands at your heart, Virabhadrasana 2. So you're going to step that right foot all the way to the back of your mat. And you'll probably have to shift around a little bit here. So I have my front heel aligned to the back of my arch. And I'm bending into my left knee, pressing it open. This time you're going to interlace your hands the more unusual way. Get the other thumb on top. Baddha Virabhadrasana 2. You're a humble warrior. Dive on down. And I know, of course, this is a challenging pose. What helps is to really push into your back foot. I know this can be hard to access or to feel into, but try not to let your left leg do all of the work. You really want to still push into that right leg. And release, hands down, lift your back heel off the mat, drop your back knee, and we'll find our quad stretch here in this low lunge. Keep your right hand under your shoulder, left arm reaches back to pull your heel in towards the glute. And let this go. Finding your hamstring stretch, you're going to straighten that left leg and maybe sink your hips back down to fold. You can always keep your hips lifted in the more traditional version of Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. And lift on up. Bend into that front knee. Instead of stepping to the top of the mat, we're finding downward dog one last time. Not here for too long. We're just stretching everything out. If you'd like to take a vinyasa, you're more than welcome to. I'm leaving it out here. Just gonna stretch in this pose, lengthening out the legs, the arms, your spine. And release your knees down to the mat. Swing your legs out in front of you. And let's actually open our legs into a straddle. So letting go of our hard work, just going to cool down and stretch everything out. Let's find a side bend. So you have your feet flexed. You can reach your left arm up and over towards your right leg. Roll that left shoulder back. Lifting up, second side, right arm reaches up and over. Roll your right shoulder back this time. Lift back up, this time facing over towards your right leg, fold. Lifting up, switch sides, folding your head towards that left leg, left shin. And up through to center, you can just fold forward, just a few breaths here. And I'm making this a passive fold, so I'm letting myself melt into it. And go ahead and curl and lift up. Let's lower down onto our backs. Just draw your knees in towards your belly once you're there. And we'll take another reclined twist, different from the one we did at the beginning of class. You can just drop both knees over to the left this time, reaching your right arm out. I'm using my left hand to help pull and guide my thigh down. So I have my right hip stacked over the left one. Lift your knees up, switch sides. Coming back through to center, check in to see if there's something else you need, but otherwise we're just shifting into our Savasana, our final pose here, palms facing up to the sky. And really feel what this has shifted, the effects of this work. What came up for you throughout this practice. I find there's so much we can learn about ourselves when we challenge ourselves in this way. Kind of lingering in discomfort. It's not easy, but we can really grow from it in meaningful ways. So just rest here for a few minutes. Let's wake ourselves up. Take deeper breaths so you feel your abdomen and your chest expand. Move a little, fingers and toes. Stretch your arms up overhead, lengthen out. And we can turn over to one side, push your hands into the floor to come up. Find a comfortable sitting position with eyes closed, Anjali Mudra, hands at your heart. Really really showering yourself with gratitude. Even if this was very challenging, even if it did not go the way you had planned, what can you be proud of and grateful for? We'll close by chanting Om. Inhale to chant, breathe in. Thank you so very much for practicing with me. I don't know about you, but I'm a little dead. This was definitely a challenging practice for me. So I don't know, maybe it was easy for you at home. Let me know how it went, what you thought of this type of power yoga class. If you would like me to make more, yeah, leave me a comment. And if you don't already subscribe, please do so. Hopefully I'll be practicing again with you very soon.